Title. Spelling is a thing, man. You get old. Spelling doesn't work so right. 99% has to play checkers, y'all. No. We have to play chess. What am I saying? Has to play chess. All small words. Okay. I think I spelled everything right. How's everybody doing this morning? All right, let me put a comment thing here so I can see who is who in the house and we can get going. We're going to talk about an invisible man today. We're going to talk about an invisible man. We're going to hit on a little ancient information. And we're also going to tap on a little boy. It's a protest in DC, I have to mention. And a few other things. Then we'll see where it goes. Everybody seemed to have fun with the troll video yesterday, so we might get into that. I caught some fire for that one, man. That was pretty crazy. I was just having some fun, and all of a sudden, I started getting all these. Listen, I'm not in the troll war, y'all. That's. I just think it's funny. How's everybody doing this morning? We got Deborah and Jasmine, Mark, Crystal, Alicia. What's that? Is it was Bernie called? Oh, it was Bernie. He's sick of all the pink hair trolls on his shoulder. Yeah, that was fun. Bernie ain't gonna call me. Bernie don't want to talk to me. No, you know what? Listen, nobody from Washington will ever call me. They will not acknowledge that my little funky behind exists. So I just have fun and talk. We're gonna talk about a few things with the Invisible Man. Buddha is in the house. Good morning, brother Kevin. And yeah, don't answer the phone. I ain't answering that phone, Kevin. I ain't gonna touch it. Brother Mark is in the house. Mike is in the house. And Alicia, Sharon, Tommy, and Kathy. Oh, thank you, brother Tommy. I appreciate that. I don't know if it was brilliant. You know, the funny thing is, you don't have to be funny today, because they stupid on their own. All right. I want to start off there because I'm gonna get in trouble right from the start. I have nothing against Bernie. I have nothing against Trump. I have nothing against Obama. I have nothing against. Yep. Okay, that's a lie. I love people too much. I got something against all of them. Now, all of them. They should call me. I got something against all of them. You know, and so seeing how that I knew that was going to happen. I don't want to talk about that yet. Stop. Let me pull back. Y'all pulling me in. Don't pull me in. I want to say something first. Y'all let me say something. I want to say something. My turn. Y'all always pull me into stuff I don't want to talk about. I want to talk about the Invisible Man first because that's important. Guess who got out of slavery today? Let me show you. I don't know if any of y'all know yet. Slavery done ended for a brother today, an invisible man that the media refused to talk about. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Jeffrey. Y'all know Jeffrey, the invisible man. One the Obama administration didn't want to talk about. Who worked during the Bush administration. Who did not get released by the Trump administration. Because they all complicit, all on the same side, all got the same friends, they all golf on the same golf course. This was the CIA whistleblower. Y'all remember this cat? This was the one that the media refused to talk about, who got thrown in prison for nothing. This Jeffrey Sterling. Y'all remember Jeffrey Sterling? They threw him in prison because he made the CIA they prosecuted him, threw him in prison because he married a white woman. Oh gosh, I'm having a little fun with this one. I'm sorry, but that's it. Listen, I looked at the case. I saw the details. Democracy Now! They was all on television, and I'd seen the movie. What's the name of that racist movie? The one that y'all keep talking about. Get Out. Where they tell you gotta stay away from them white women. This is the word of the day, y'all. You gotta be careful. So the CIA prosecuted him for basically blowing the whistle. And nobody can figure out why he was in prison. Everybody's trying to figure out, what did he do? He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything wrong. His biggest problem was he was an embarrassment to the CIA because he was talking to a journalist at a time that, who was it, Ryson? He was talking to a journalist at the time that the journalist found out about Operation Merlin. Remember Operation Merlin? That was the operation that led where they tried to give Iran nuclear weapons information before Iran had a nuclear weapons program. This is when y'all ever heard of LA and the CIA? They started the drug trade, the whole war on drugs, all of that's a lie. The CIA started all of that. That was all cocaine out of LA. We knew that. Arkansas, and flying all the cocaine into Bill Clinton's airport down in Arkansas. So not only did the CIA start the drug trade in the United States, the CIA started Iran off on a nuclear weapon program. Why would they do that? Why would they do it? Well, I won't get into all the details of Operation Merlin, but the whole point is if you can get all these wars going up and you can destabilize everything, then if you can break down gun control for the whole world, then you can make a whole lot of money. And then you get people cheering gun control in the United States. Try to make sense of that. I don't want to talk about that part yet. We're going to talk about that. We'll get into the protest downtown. So his only crime that I can tell is because I think right around the time he went to prison, who was it? Brennan and the other crew, they all got off. They were totally caught releasing classified information, and they all didn't go to prison. Sterling went to prison, and I can't figure out why. The only thing listen, y'all, look, if you ever get pulled over by the police, if you're a minority, y'all, and you get pulled over by, oh no, they don't actually work both ways. And this is the funny thing about how crazy people are who think about race as a thing anymore. If you get pulled over by the police, don't and you got the white girl in the car, don't let the white girl talk to the police. It's not going to end well for you if you're a minority. And if you're driving in the car, you're a white brother, and you got a sister in the car, get pulled over by the police, and she upset about, don't let her talk to the police. You're gonna go to prison. All right, now I'm in enough trouble. Let me stop. Okay. So anyway, so they released the brother. So this is good news. They finally let him out of prison. He had a lot of heart problems while he was in prison. Actually, Claudia and Debbie and Democracy Now! And a few other alternative media actually did reports on him. Of course, RT did, Russia Today. You know, they did reports on him, but this is back prior to when they can have a report and it would say funded by the Russian government underneath on YouTube. So this is good news, you guys. Slavery ending is always a good thing for this brother. So he's out. I'd be curious as to what he has to say. I don't think he's going to say anything. But you know what this is evidence of? This is evidence of, in a police state, you don't have to do anything wrong to go to prison. And they don't have to prove that you did anything wrong to go to prison. They can put you in prison because the Democrats and the Republicans rolled out a police state. And everything Hitler did is 100% legal. They can do it anytime they like. So think about that. Be wary of that. So I want to go into something fun. So, and I'll post his link if you guys want to see more on him. I'm going to go over here to something a little crazy. You got to know, I want to show that. Let's do that. And let's do that. You got to go over to history. History is important. I always love to go to history and think about history because we don't know whatever came before us. And if we don't know what came before us, we're going to repeat it again, which is why it's good to remember about Brother Sterling, but also to look back in time, back in the past. I'm over here in Peru, Machu Picchu, overlooking a beautiful sight because I want to talk about something that I didn't know about. I found out about this little crazy stuff. So where's that picture? Right here. Look at this. Look at this right here. This is some crazy stuff. We don't know who we are. We don't even know what we came through. You know what that is? You have any idea what that is? That's a pot. You know what that pot is inside of? This is a pot that they found in Oklahoma. The coal miners. Underneath the town, what was the name of the town? The coal miners are underneath the town of, I forgot the name of it. It was Thomas, Oklahoma in 1912. They found some coal. Y'all know coal is old, right? I don't know if y'all know that. I'll let you know. Coal ain't new. Coal is not new. Coal is very old. You know how they always like to pretend that the human race is only a few thousand years old? And all over the world, there's been evidence found on every single continent that we are not as young as we like to think we are. You know, old people try to act like they're young. Got the wrinkles and stuff. I do it too. I shave my gray and the gray come right back. We gotta talk about no cougars. Stop it. Old people like to think they're young, but we like to think that we are the greatest thing in the universe, and we're the first thing and the first hominids or whatever on this planet that actually had any kind of technology. Let me show you what this is. This is a pot. This is a pot that they found in 1912 in a block of coal. You know what's significant about that pot in a block of coal? What's significant about a pot in a block of coal is in Oklahoma in 1912. That was, the picture was taken in 1940 something. Is that pot, the coal that the pot came out of? Let's talk about the pot. Let's talk about the coal that the pot came out of. The coal that the pot came out of was actually studied by the Oklahoma Geological Survey to be 312 million years old. Chew on that for a minute. I find it interesting, and I find it very, very delicious that pot doesn't look like any pot I've seen. I don't know what you do with that pot. Do you boil water? Do you boil some tea with that? Do you make coffee with that pot? That to me looked like a pot that came from a civilization we don't know nothing about. That pot looks like something that's out of place in our world because it was made by a culture we completely forgot about. Now, I'm not saying it's 312 million years old. I wouldn't say something crazy like that. Oklahoma Geological Survey said it's 312 million years. Well, actually, okay, technically they said that the coal that it came outside of was 312 million years old. You need to think about that. You know, it could be for pouring something. You could be right, Jasmine. It also could be, I don't know, pouring elixir, manna, I don't know, some spiritual juice. I don't know, black goo. You have no idea what that pot is for. Why is that important? It's important. Well, no, let me tell you something else. And so currently, where's the pot today? Because people say, oh, we want to study the pot. I don't believe it. Human beings, we just got here. We the best thing on the planet. We the only thing in the universe. We the first thing to have thought on the planet. You know, because human beings, they got that hubris because their brains got all these, they like to swell up and think how great they are. The owner of the pot refused to be known. It is held by an unknown collector. First of all, they know who he is because that's not a 1940s picture. But second of all, the fact that he doesn't want to be known, or she, it's very interesting. Very interesting. If you own, okay, I'm gonna say me because I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm not scared, but I understand some things. If I had a pot that was 350 million, you know what? If I had a pot, damn it, that was 20,000 years old, the last thing I'm gonna do is let anybody in this world know. I can't tell you why these world governments want to keep history secret. I have no idea why they don't want people to look back at the past and realize that there's a lot more going on this planet than what anybody wants to say. And you might want to say sometimes that it's religion, and people like to blame Christianity. Christianity, y'all beat up on Christian people so much. But y'all like to say that, but the truth is in the Bible, it talks about ancient civilizations that were here prior to human beings, right? It talks about the angels and demons that lived on the planet prior. All the ancient cultures talk about it. So it's not a Christian conservative thing, but it could be. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Maybe they don't read their Bibles. The government don't read the Bible. And they're all some demons anyway. Okay, let me keep going. Looks like an ashtray. I don't know what it is. It could be. Could be an alien prophylactic. I'm not going down that road. I have no idea. So it's interesting to me. If we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat it, right? If we don't know, if we are and this is why I always talk about everything from the 99% perspective. Because let me switch. Let's go over here. If we don't actually know who we are and what came before us and what happened to the people that came before us, if we are dumb enough to get roped into playing checkers on a planet that requires the poor people to play chess, we all gonna die. Think about chess. What pieces die first? Who died? Who do they march off first when you play chess? You march off the poor people. You march off your pawns, your peons. They're the ones, and who's like subject to the minimal movements on the board, the rules of the game? The peons. Who do you sacrifice the peons. You know, in my vision of the world, the pawns on both sides, they have the same issue. They're being marched around the board. They don't have the power to do much. They will be sacrificed not only by the knights and the kings and the queens and the rooks who are prioritized, who have more movement and more power and more money, but also by the hand that moves everything across that board. I love this picture because it reminds me of something, right? People like to blame the government. They like to blame the other side, the other race, the other religion, the others. But there's always that hand that's moving all the pieces all over the board, that's playing everybody. And this is what I'm thinking, that we have to start playing chess and stop being checker pieces by the kings, the queens, the rooks, and that invisible hand that's just marching everything around on the planet, making things work out. All right, let's keep going. So, let me see. A couple comments. Christine said they don't want the public to know about possible anthropogenic extinction. Well, yes, absolutely. I agree with you. I think that's one of, we don't know all the details. We don't know everything that they're up to, but it's obvious that they don't like to talk about cataclysm. Anytime you look at the narratives that they kind of push out there, I think it kind of indicates what the hell might be kind of sort of going on, knowing we don't have all the information. They got this thing that doomsday prepping that your grandmama did is a bad idea. I love my grandmama. Damn it, I know she was a doomsday prepper because she saw doom in her day. And so I don't mind that term. It makes sense to me that we should be preparing for things because that actually is what they are doing. They're always digging some deep bunkers, storing food and seed and all this stuff. And so if they're doing it and we're dumb enough to fight people over what's this name, the Black Panther movie? We're dumb enough to fight people over the Black Panther movie. Oh my Lord. Oh, listen. All right. Somebody went mad at me for a minute, but I got to say this. So apparently there's a controversy over the Black Panther movie. I don't know what y'all sometimes I don't get it. So apparently there are people who are boycotting the movie because it's got a lot of black people in it. And maybe the Black Panther, and then the people who on the other side saying that white people shouldn't go to the movie because it's black people's day. They should go to the theater and have their day. And I'm just sitting like, what the hell is wrong with you, moron? Okay, all right, that's a little strong. That's a little strong. Let me write that back. What in the what was it? You didn't have enough love as a child? Did you? What? Why would you even think of that? You know, when I go to the movies, I can't even tell you half the time the actor's name, let alone what kind of race they are. If it's a good movie, most of the time you can't even tell their race if you're stupid enough to even think about something like that. I go to the movie to enjoy a movie. Why do we need these dumb ideas to try to push and make problems on a chessboard like we're playing checkers? Think about that for a minute. Just think about that. If you go to the movie, I'm gonna tell you something, this is the both sides of these little silly racial debates. If you go to the movies and if at one moment your mind actually thinks about the race of the people in the movies, you're racist. You need to get help. You might actually be a lot of nice racist people out there. They mean well, they do, they mean well, but their mind is focused on these racial thoughts. If your mind is focused on racial thoughts all the damn time that you see it when you go to the movies, to eat some popcorn and enjoy yourself with your kids and other people, you need to get help. This is not the world. This is not, when I was a kid, this stuff was dying. We didn't care nothing. We barely cared anything about any of that. Right now, all of this should be dead and gone. Whether you're well-meaning or you're not, put that stuff away. And I think the majority of people are that way. The majority of people just go to the movies, enjoy the movie. So, all right, we're going to keep going. Yes, this therapy. Thank you, Sandra. They need therapy. And we love you. Don't act like we don't love you. We do. It's just we don't have time for that. We don't have a whole lot of time. There's not a whole lot of pawns. Well, actually, no, it's a lot of pawns left on the board, but a lot of us are gone. A lot of pawns are gone. Speaking of gone, here we go. All right, I tried to avoid this particular one. I can't seem to avoid this particular one. Oh, but you know what? No, I always got a lot of stuff in my head. So the other thing, somebody hit me the other day. We were talking about the whole troll thing. The guy, what did he say? I like the opposition because I want to know if I'm saying something that's wrong. That's the only way I get smarter. Is that people tell me I'm wrong and they give me some information I can think about. So I guess how somebody was upset with me yesterday because they said that I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous. They said I'm dangerous. And I don't really know what that means. Well, actually, I think technically he said y'all dangerous. And I guess he's trying to say that because I'm just making some jokes about Bernie and his silly little comment and him just not processing what the hell is going on in the world. It's dangerous to talk down perhaps somebody who the Democrats might consider running to get Trump out of office. I have to disagree. And I'll tell you why I disagree. Number one is I have something that's called integrity. If you say something foul, I'm going to say that it's foul. I don't play politics. Somebody else said, yeah, you talking about politics. I don't like no politics. I don't talk about politics. I talk about human rights and where we should be going as a world. And unfortunately, your little politics where y'all like to make negotiation deals and all this stuff, you're getting in the freaking way of the human race. That's why it becomes a topic in the things I talk about. But I don't do no politics. I'm not making deals with you over nothing. I don't care if the Democrats lose. Let me say that again, very clearly and loud. I don't care if the Democrats lose. Let me say it very clearly and loud the other side. I don't care if the Republicans lose. Trump doesn't scare me. Bernie doesn't scare me. Obama didn't scare me. Bush didn't scare me. Clinton, all right, Clinton might have a little bit. Clinton the devil. They the devil, y'all. They just, y'all need to put them under the, they need to send them back to the hot coal. They need to put them in that coal pot where they found the pot with the coal in the beginning of the video. But they don't scare me. I'm going to stand on integrity, right? It doesn't matter who says it, and I don't care what type of deals got to be made to get somebody out of office, get somebody in office. From my standpoint, they all do the same damn thing 99.9% of the time, because 99.9% of the time, it's a market, a bank, a corporation that's buying the law, that's forcing them to do what they do. So Trump doesn't scare me. I don't watch the tweets. I think it's funny. I think it's funny because y'all scared to death, and this guy, apparently he's just very scared, and he feels that you got to get behind somebody saying something. Listen, for me, and if you are a Bernocrat, listen, you feel that that's how we're going to change things. I'm not trying to change your mind. I don't care to change anybody's mind. Trump, I don't care. Your support, I don't care to change anybody's mind. If you say something wrong, intelligent, intellectual people with empathy, love in the heart, give a damn, want the human race to go in the right direction, you're supposed to say it's wrong. If you say something that's right, you're supposed to say it's right. Bernie became pro-war. He's not in my camp. Like, that's not, if we doing the tribal thing, I don't like that. I think we all gonna die because we all some pawns. But if you're doing the tribal thing, if we had to have a breakdown like that, my stance is don't murder people. That's my stance. That's always my stance. When you want to kill people, you're not standing with the human race. You're standing with yourself or some other people, the craziness, aliens and demons and stuff, but don't kill people. And so the minute a politician that I don't like, because I don't like no politicians, but the minute a politician says, hey, this is a good idea to go to Syria and kill people, you lost me. I'm not, in terms of, I'm gonna tell you that you're wrong, and he's wrong. So if that's you and you want to make a politic deal with somebody who's saying, let's go murder people, I give you a hug. That's all I can do. I can give you a hug. So, okay, let's keep going. Now I'm really getting some trouble. Oh boy, I saw this protest. They were protesting in DC yesterday. Here we go. So where is this one? Oh boy. And I know it's emotional, but we're gonna have to go to this one. I don't think people here, and sometimes the young people that get out there protesting, and I don't blame young people for their stances, but we have to speak about where to stand. So this was a protest and it was great. I love to see kids protest, you guys. I do. I was a young I was protesting in my 20s. I love it. But unfortunately, they're protesting. All right, so they're protesting gun control. All right, great protest though. They're out there to show them passion. They want to change the world, and a lot of times you have to do something, to show that you got love in your heart and you want to go the right way. So y'all know where I stand on gun control. People like to hit me all the time on it, unfortunately, I remind you. But first, I want you to see the end of the protest. At the end of the protest, they were chanting, and this is what's important.
Congress is complicit. Congress is complicit.
Hold on. I gotta plug in I think the headset so y'all can hear the actual chant. The chant is important. It's important because the other thing I don't do hypocrisy. I don't do hypocrisy. So I gotta plug this in. I'll let you hear this. I know sometimes you can't hear me well on this, but I need you to hear this clear. Hey, hey, NRA, how many? Hey, hey, NRA. Hey, hey, NRA. Back it up. Listen, Congress is hey, hey, NRA. Congress is complicit. All right. Ain't they cute though? Ain't they cute? They cute. They little kids, man. This is why I don't want to say anything, because I love it when kids are showing up and they got love in their heart and they're showing it. But the message is a little corrupt, and it's not their message. It's been given to them by talking points. But let's all right, so here, I want y'all to see how cute they are. They cute. I love the kids. Hold on. All right, here we go. Congress is complicit. Congress is complicit. Okay, Congress is complicit. Yes, Congress is always complicit. Every damn thing that's on the world. If you are in a obscure country and you don't have no food, no water, and you're poor and you're like eating dirt and mud cakes like in Haiti or something, I guarantee you the American Congress is complicit. No matter where you are, if there's devastation in the world, we had something to do with that. And that's a whole long story about colonization, World War II, and how we took over the world, our imperialism. But yes, Congress is complicit. Now, what's the next chant? Congress is complicit. Congress is complicit. Congress is hey, hey, NRA. How many kids have you killed today? Whoa, that's a good one. Hey, hey, NRA. How many kids have you killed today? Well, that's a good question. Oh, okay, Kelly, you need coffee? Get your coffee, brother. I've got my coffee too. How many kids have the NRA killed today? That is a good question. But I also want to ask the question, seeing how we're concerned with children dying, right? That's my thing. Killing kids. That's when I want to choke you. I want to meet you back in the alleyway somewhere. But how many kids did the NRA kill? How many kids did the CIA kill? How many kids unfortunately, our kids who want to do the good thing in our military kill? How many kids have the governments we've been flooding guns to in South America, in Africa, in the Middle East? How many kids died today from them? And this is where it gets under, it's the burr. It's a burr. It's not about these kids. I love these kids. They protesting, y'all. Don't say nothing bad about the kids. They're trying to save their world. They're trying to do the right thing, but they're not fed all the information. So let me hear the rest of the chants. And I'm going to take this headset off because I can't talk with this. Hey, hey, NRA. Hey, hey, NRA. How many kids have you killed today? All right. So, that was the end of it. All right. So let me do this. This out of here. All right. Because I think y'all can hear me better without it. All right. So here's the problem. Here's the problem. If it's about human life, if it's about how many people were killed, how many children were killed today, then your attack is not the NRA. Your attack is on the people you're protesting to make the change. This is why nothing changes, because you go to people who are actually behind the problem to solve the problem. So if you want children to stop being killed, Well, let me say this. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Now, if you only care about American children, then I'm not talking to you, right? If you only care about American kids, then this is not for you. That's a form of racism, patriotism, something ism, where you only get upset when an American kid dies. You know, people only get out and protest, and they only get angry, and it's only on the news when it's an American, right? When it's a school shooting in America, they talk about it for a week. But whether it's a school shooting or a hospital bombing or a wedding bombing in Afghanistan, they're clapping for it, or Syria, or they don't want to say nothing about it. They drink their coffee like it just doesn't exist. And this is what I want those kids in that protest to really process, that the people, the adults that are feeding them their information are only feeding them part of the story, right? Me, I'm for gun control. I absolutely am. I feel that guns should not exist because I don't think there should be something on this planet that takes a human life. However, the facts are, you see the chess pieces behind us? The chess pieces behind us? They got tanks, they got guns, they got drones. We just started off the video talking about brother Jeffrey, who was in prison, who didn't do any damn thing, right? And I know people that their isms kick in, they're like, oh, it's because he was black. They didn't put him in because he was black. No, it wasn't, damn it, because he's dating a white woman. There's a difference. So no, Obama didn't save him, and no, Eric Holder didn't save him. Nobody went to save him. He was a whistleblower. He spoke up against the chess pieces behind me. He spoke up against the rooks, the knights, the kings, and the queens, and then he dated a white woman and said he put him in prison for no damn reason, right? And why do they do that? How can they do that? They can do that because they have all the guns. They have all the bombs. They have all the tanks, and you can't say anything. And I'm not one of these guys that says, oh, you can use a gun and fight the Homeland Security or something. No, you can't. They will kill you in a minute. Do you know that these people are highly trained? They know every damn thing, and they can kill you in a minute. I'm not saying that. And it's not even a violent thing. It's about a deterrent. If you have a well-armed militia, people think twice about coming into your town. They might have to stop for a minute, strategize, plan, think about it, not just walk in the door. When you have a disarmed population, they can take that hammer and just run through every single door, come in, drag everybody to prison, don't have to think about it. They could turn on slavery tomorrow, like that. You like the snap? I like the snap. They could turn on slavery tomorrow, and you can't say anything about it. That's why this is about the Constitution and the laws of the land. Like, it's kind of like a marriage. Think about a marriage for a minute. Let's say two people, and I know I always have a lot of Christian things, but that's how I was raised. The basis of a Christian marriage is this Bible, right? And that Bible tells you what you is and ain't supposed to do. It's a premise. It's your rules in your law book, what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to be out drinking with women. You're not supposed to be out partying after work. You're supposed to take your butt home, spend time with your kids and your wife. So, but these two people believe in this thing, and this is their rule book, and this is how a marriage is supposed to go, and this is the laws of their land, of their marriage, their house. This is the rules they operate in. The only way that works and stays peaceful is if they stick to that rule book. When somebody starts to violate that, and she finds Tyrone ain't work in the office. He come from, he look kind of hot. She figures she go get, when you when you violate the rights, the rules of the book, then everything is at play. And the only reason we have stability in the United States of America is because this thing called the Constitution, right? The only reason we have rights and freedoms and, a generally peaceful society is because we all believe in this rule book, this document, this thing that says this is how things work. Now, did they get it all right? No, they didn't. Obviously, because corporations run our entire government. But in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, it tells people that they have rights. You can't touch those rights. Why? Because if it's okay to fudge gun rights, it's okay to fudge human rights. It's okay to fudge free speech. It's okay to fudge slavery. It's okay to fudge. See, the thing is, we always get to this place where we make decisions At the time, it seemed like a good idea. We have these well-meaning ideas. We really mean, those kids mean well. They got love in their heart. You know, nobody wants to see children being shot. But when these things happen, you don't go and accuse somebody else who didn't do it and take their rights. Because if you do that, then when something happens on their side, they're going to come and take some rights on your side, which means both sides lose. The peons, the pawns on both sides lose. The ones who run everything don't. They win. Because now that hand that's moving the chess pieces around, they actually have more power and more control. The lords, the kings, the rooks on both sides have more control because the pawns all have less rights. That's why I'm not for it. I am for a future society where people feel safe enough that they don't want a gun. We're going in that direction anyway. People, we're already going there. People aren't buying more guns. Every 10 years, they're buying less guns, right? We have these moments where we go back and forth because the stupid government and police state and all this nonsense is happening, and people feel the need to protect themselves, but that's their right. Leaving them alone, focusing on the big pharma, focusing on like the real causes to this, you know, how we raise children and abuse and mental illness and getting our Homeland Security and FBI and all of these people back on our side, looking out for the safety of society, acting like public servants, not acting like bank servants and Wall Street servants and destabilizing the world. Once we get them back, we can have some safety and freedom. When kids aren't raised right, they can get them and do something with them, right? And help them. We can bring pharma back under control. They own all the laws. They write tomorrow, big pharma can buy a law to say that every child that has what is it, ADHD, ADD has to go under medication. They can do that tomorrow, and there's nothing you can say about it. Does that bother you a little bit? Like, does that disturb you? Like, I get gun control is an issue, but I think that you listen to talking points and you're not using critical thought. You're listening to what your leaders are telling you, but your leaders aren't on your side. So they give you these talking points and turn you against another pawn, when in really, maybe it's a bigger problem that we have a government that can take rights, anytime they want. I think that's kind of a bigger problem. So, okay, let me keep going. I don't want to talk about gun control. I think in the future, they won't exist if we actually raise our children correctly. If we actually build a society based in abundance and not scarcity, people have less reason to have them. It's like smoking. People smoke less. Why? Because we found out it's bad for you. And what do people do when it's bad for you and you see people dying from it? You say, you know what, maybe I don't need to do that. You know, it happens over time, but it's firm and complete if you don't force it to happen, if people just stop doing it because they don't feel the need to do it anymore. So I got an idea. How about we make a better society? We take Wall Street control out of our government so people don't feel the need to buy guns. Like, if you really hate the NRA and that's your enemy, your blood enemy, that's how you hurt them. You fix our society. You make sure that, all right, I'm done with that one. I'm not going there. So we got other problems. Well, I've got all kind of problems. Here we go. So this is about to fall apart. Something's about to fall apart. You know what? I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this one.
So the United States should excuse us, but the laws and
so in Syria, Assad is going to get in the fight, right? Because you had Turkey coming down from the north, and they were fighting the did I say the Turks? I did. I'm sorry, the Kurds. I'm sorry, it just came out sometimes. And so they're fighting the Kurds. Now, mind you, they're all fighting under U.S. tax dollars and all U.S. weapons, tanks, guns, bombs. Like, they get them all from us. America doesn't know whose side to be on because they're like, I think they like destabilization, or they like war, or they just like death and murder. I don't know. But so they're trying to pick and choose what side they're going to get behind. Probably like the Iraq Contra affair, when they funded both sides and get everybody fighting the pawns on both sides. But now Assad's going to get into it. And this is where we, like I said, we got bigger issues. We got significantly bigger issues. Because now Assad is going to go and fight for a side. He's either going to take his portion back. That's my Syria, and he's going to fight off Turkey, which is going to be a big problem because the United States is going to say, "You fighting Turkey?" And the United States is going to jump back in the war, which they never left the war. Or he's going to come in, he's going to fight for the Kurds and say, "Let's work together, let's work a deal out. You can have a little portion of the country," which is probably unlikely. And he's going to start fighting Turkey, and the United States is going to come in, "You're fighting Turkey?" So either side he gets on, the United States is going to jump in the fight, and more kids are going to get killed, right? This is why we have bigger problems. We have bigger problems than assault rifles in the United States. We send millions of assault rifles all over this world with the tanks, bombs, and those kids are dying. The moms are dying. The dads are dying. The elderly. When we destabilize Syria, and this is probably the problem with having a war that has like 8 sides of fractions, is you can't control it. It's going to bubble out of control. And so this, if you want to go and protest something to save life, if human life is what's important to you, and I hope that it is, and it's not just you want to get involved in some politics, that's something to protest. What else do we have going on? Oh boy, Afghanistan. Man, this is the bad one. This is a bad one. So in Afghanistan, they are trying to prosecute for war crimes. So there were, what, 1 million, there were 1 million, where my notes at? 1 million, not good. Statements taken for Afghan crimes in the war in Afghanistan. This is bad. Everything from just walking in and murdering entire families to rape and kidnapping and everything. Horrible, horrible thing. So what's going to happen? What's going to come out of this? It's basically nothing. Nothing, because the United States, we're not a part of, we don't care about war crimes, number one. But, you know, there could be at the smaller levels in the military prosecutions, there could be, you know, that come out of this. The people who started the war, they will not pay the price. The people who profited most from the war, they won't pay any sort of a price. But the troops, the 19-year-old kids that we send into war who don't have fully formed frontal lobes, they will pay some sort of a price when all of this comes back. So this is where we get into when we talk about, if you send somebody, a young person, to a bad area and you put a gun in their hand, bad things will always happen. I personally am always in the camp. I don't blame people that don't have fully formed frontal lobes. I don't blame human beings, people that aren't human beings. They don't have fully formed human brains yet. I don't believe in the idea of taking somebody who is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, up to 26, and giving them decision as to whether or not it's a good idea to go kill people for a government. They need to be in school. They need to be in college. They need to be enjoying life. They need to be partying with their friends. They need to get it out their system. They don't do it later. But when you take them and you put them in environments that cause all sorts of mental challenges like we talk about, turn on warrior genes, they will do things they're not supposed to do. So I don't blame the soldiers. And I'm very, very clear on this. I mean, they have a role in it, but when you send a 20-year-old kid into an environment like that and their warrior genetics start kicking in, the gene shuts off for empathy, common sense goes away, their frontal lobe isn't operating how it's supposed to because they got 13-year-old kids shooting at them and people throwing grenades, they will do dumb things because they don't have the same feelings that you do. I mean, they put it borderline. It's actually, the people who study this, the neuroscientists, they call it psychopathy. They call you are a temporary psychopath. And so how do we blame the kids who are actually doing that and not the adults who put them in the situation, who knew what the situation was going to cause? So, you know, let me go back and look at some of the comments, see where we're going with this. I had one or two other things I found to be important. So I don't think that any of those prosecutions are really going to go anywhere because you can't touch a United States soldier, but you can get them in a lot of trouble, right? And the military has their own court where they will do their own thing, you know, to those kids. But what about the people who ordered it? What about the people who started the Afghanistan war? What about the people who lied us into it? That's why I think if you want to protest human rights, you want to fight for lives, your fight's not with the NRA. And your fight's not with these kids who are fighting the NRA. Your fight is with the people who are destabilizing the world. It's the biggest contradiction I've ever heard in my entire life, that you'd be against guns being deployed all over America, but you're for guns being deployed all over the world. Americans have great abundance for the most part. A lot of real people doing bad in our country, but compared to other countries, we're doing great. We have tons of abundance. You can put guns in the hands of most people. They'll put it down. They won't even touch it. They have no reason. But think about if you live in a country where you don't even have food, where gangs come into your town and they just pick the women they want or the kids they want to rape. When America sends guns to your country, you're going to join a side, whether it's the Crips, the Bloods, the Houthis, the any of these gangs that you want to throw out there, ISIS, ISIL, they're going to join a side. Why? Because human beings, at the default, you need that safety. So contradictions, I don't do. I don't like contradictions. So, all right. And it is, thank you, Carrie. It is brainwashing. Let me go back to some of the comments. Put a lot out there. I'm not sure. I might be getting cussed out. Somebody getting upset with me. Let me clarify. I don't care about politics. I don't care who's the president. I don't care who's in Congress. I don't care anything about that because they don't make any decisions. None of them. The system makes those decisions. And that's all I give a damn about. So we won't go to any sort of politics. Just to clarify, looking for a debate? Not your person. I'm not going to debate you. I don't care to debate you. I'm going to put information out there. And if you want to read that information and process it and form your own opinion, it's a solid decision and that's good. Go for it. If you don't, then don't. Brother Sterling, we just talked about. So he's free today. I put the information out there. You can look at him and say, that's a bad thing. He was a traitor because he released some information. I'm just going to say to you that, what? I don't think secrecy is such a good thing because every time they can keep secrets, they're usually up to something bad. Usually in a marriage, when a person has secrets, they're up to something bad. So I don't think a government and its people should have any kind of secrets. But you believe in secrecy and that's fine. You might go 5 years down the road. Hey, maybe I might change my position. You might change your position. But I suspect in a world where the pawns always pay the heaviest price, I just think we have bigger things to be worried about. I think that America, for the most part right now, our military is unchallenged. We have no reason to be scared of anything, let alone some damn Russians. Off into the troll war, let alone some damn Russians. We have no reason to be scared of these things. So what is the purpose of national security? Think about that. What is the purpose of all of these agencies if we have weapons that could take over the whole world right now? Why do we even have them? All right, look, I gotta shrink my head. My head is too big. You can't see it. Let the troll... Begin the troll wars have. So, okay. So, yeah, Bernie called us trolls. So, let me move myself to the... All right. So, let me see what the conversation is about. See what y'all talking about. I'm pretty sure. I didn't say something. Made somebody. On point, children being murdered over the world is a cause of concern always. Thank you, Sandra. You agree with me? I agree with you. I think kids are important, and I just don't think American kids are important. I think all kids are. And there's, you know what? And sometimes, Sandra, I'll get somebody to come back and say, yeah, well, my focus is on American kids, though. I'm like, damn, that's some real racist stuff to say, lady. Why would you say that? Shouldn't the focus be the majority of children? Like, I think if you're in the closet racist, you should just come out and say, I only care about Americans. I don't care about other people. Like, let us know. Get a little badge, sticker, a little button or something. Just say, I'm racist. Racism isn't about skin color. It's about you joining up with a side, and you're okay with bad things happening to those other people being oppressed or murdered or walked into slavery, and you don't care about the other side. It's kind of like the whole cotton and cell phone thing we keep talking about. The modern cotton is cell phone. Don't talk to me that slavery's bad and you get an upgrade every time a new cell phone comes out because you're racist. You might be well-meaning racist, you might be ignorant racist, not really understanding how all this stuff links together, but that's why we have to talk about this stuff. Brother Jeffrey, you need to share that out. Why? Because he was the invisible man. He was silenced. Nobody really knew what was going on with him. Now that he's out, all of this kind of fits together in the fact that, why did they put him in prison? Because he told the secret. He told the secret that we didn't find out till later, and that is they wanted Iran to have a nuclear weapons program. They lied about it. They wanted Iraq to have one. They lied about it. Kim Jong, some dumb ill, proved the whole reason why. Because if you have a nuclear weapon, we won't invade you. So he was one of the key instrumental people going back into the Bush administration that explained to us that we are being lied into every single war. And we have a CIA that's rogue that actually is making our enemies for us. So we don't have a choice. We don't have the ability to say war is bad, because after the war gets started, it's too late. Right? So I think that's important. He is a hero. And people still saying Assange is this, and they're still talking about Manning, and they're still talking about Snowden. These are all heroes. Why? Because if you're standing for truth and you understand that we aren't threatened by anybody but our own ignorant selves, then these people are heroes to you. And if you don't, I don't think we're going to have some great conversations. Bobby, I don't know who Bobby is. Sister Lynn came out. Jeffrey Sterling is married to his wife, Holly Sterling. Sterling, he's a lawyer too. Yeah, you know what? And his story is interesting. Go back to the Invisible Man. He actually was homeless for a while, right? Because he went into the CIA and he wanted to be a hero. And this is how the story always goes, outside of the ignorance. It's the cops want to be heroes. The soldiers want to be heroes. The CIA, the FBI. That's why the majority of people in these organizations aren't bad people. They want to be heroes, even in the pharmaceutical industry. We went into those industries because we wanted to help. But those industries aren't about to help. And so he went in and he just uncovered some things. He wanted to, so the story I think went, if I mess it up, let me know. But he was promised that he was going to work in Iran. He was going to be an agent, a CIA agent in Iran. And one day somebody told him, and so he trained for it. They were teaching him Farsi, everything. He was getting ready to go be a secret operative, blah, 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 blah. And one day someone came up and said, well, we think I think it was 6'2" black man. We don't think you can hide too well in Iran. We don't think you're going to fit in. We think you're going to stand out. I think the joke kind of was, you just found out I was black after all this training and everything. And so they put him in other jobs. And finally, he left the CIA. He sued him for discrimination. He was the only minority to do that. And he actually married a white woman. So, and so the CIA came after him. And it took them, 10 years or so before they finally got some sort of a phony case to prosecute him, and they did. And then after that, during the whole process, he was unemployed, he was homeless, slept in his car. He just wanted to do good. In a corrupt society, do-gooders pay the full price. You pay the maximum price if you're a do-gooder. If you're JFK, you mean well, you will pay the price. If you're a soldier going in the military, coming back, telling the truth, you will pay the price. And so they made him pay that price. We are slaves in a way. Kimberly, yes. Well, Kimberly, we are not slaves in a way, girl. We are slaves. We are slaves, but it's a little sicker than that. We are slaves that embrace slavery. And we are slaves that not only embrace our slavery and we vote for our slavery and we cheer for our slavery, we cheer for our slavery being forced onto other countries. We cheer for the slaves that are even less than us, that are mining the minerals for our cell phones. We are a very sick society. And it's not that we're sick. It's just people don't know, right? And when people don't know, they get roped into these things that they should know better about. And so that's what the internet is for, which is why all the censoring is here, is because people actually can talk about the truth. And you have to do that. Brother Kevin, that's why I love you, Gerard. If you're talking about killing Americans' kids, ignoring other kids, then I'm not speaking to you. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, I don't like contradiction, brother. I don't like no contradictions. I like people to speak it as it is. I don't like people to make up things as they go. And when I start seeing you being selective, selective is my thing. When I start seeing you being selective, you're choosing this side over that side, choosing these kids over that kids, choosing this over that, and just pushing some other information away, then I know that you're lying. And what was the quote somebody said the other day? Something about, if you're lying, it means that you actually have no point. It means you have no founding, you have no grounding, right? And that's the great thing about being wrong. Say something. If you find out it's wrong, change your opinion. Say you're wrong. It's okay to be wrong. You know, and a lot of people don't want to admit that they're wrong nowadays, and that's why we get in trouble. What's up, brother Andrew? Right to revolt is is in the Constitution. Ava, yeah. Well, I think what you're talking about is, you're talking about like nullification, like the state's ability to say no, we don't want to do that. We're not going to let you stick vaccines in our anus. Like, I think I think that nullification was a point, because the states, they didn't want to be a part of a union. They did not want to have a federal government. They knew eventually that it would become like the kings and the lords. And so the states always had the ability to say, you know what, if we don't ever want to do this again, we can back out, we can secede. And so the states have the right to do that. In terms of revolt on a personal level, so the states, yes, could back away from the federal government, and the people can back away from the state. But the thing was, Ava, we never had a reason to, because the Constitution was based on freedom. You buy some land, this is your land. You can do whatever you wanted. So you had no reason to revolt, and you had a gun to protect your land. If you wanted to put up a chicken coop, do whatever you like. There were no building codes, and there were no association fees and all this silly stuff that they had. When you bought land, you owned land. But the biggest problem between then and now is they realized land is power. Land is how people can stand up to you. Land is how you can say, you know what, I don't want to do that no more. And so they wouldn't allow land to continue. And so if people actually have land, they can say no to their government. Right? Like we talk about, dependents don't say no to anybody. If you're dependent on a government because you don't own land, you need them for water, food, infrastructure, whatever, you're dependent on them. You're not strong, you're not independent. You will back down when they say back down. If they want you to back down and not talk about kids being killed in Yemen, you won't do that. You'll only talk about kids being killed in America. So yeah, absolutely it did. Everybody, you got to read the Constitution. You got to read the Bill of Rights. The thing that I hate the most is that they don't teach that to kids anymore. One of the reasons I'm pissed, people ask me, why are you leaving? Yeah, eventually I'm probably going to leave the United States. If we don't get our goal, if we don't get our game together, I'm going to go, because I'm going to get old. I don't want to die in a police state. That's just really what it comes to. When I was in school, I was promised a free life. I was given civics. We took our civics. We had tests. We had to study, and we were promised freedom. We didn't get that freedom. We got a police state. And so, yeah, I'll do all I can while I'm here, but if we don't get our country back to respecting the Constitution, I don't want to die a slave. That's stupid. Why would I do that? I want to see what it tastes like to taste some freedom. That's why immigrants still come here sometimes. They're like, oh Lord, no. Y'all ever see that video of the GIF? I love that GIF. The little girl, the little toddler, she runs in the room through the doorway, and she's like, oh Lord, she turns around, she runs back out. The funniest gift on the planet. I post it all the time. I love it. But that's what it's like. And it's just immigrants that come here like, oh Lord, if where they left was nicer than America, had a little more freedoms, they're like, nope, I'm not staying here. What I read about y'all are crazy. And it's because Americans keep fighting each other. The pawns keep fighting. Yes, Lisa is being chipped away. They're slowly chipping away at it. And they're not even trying hard. They don't have to try to take our rights anymore, because in fact, they barely even say the talking points anymore, because they have people so brainwashed that they just go right along with it when it happens. If the news says it, then that's how it happened, and everybody believes it. We talk about, I have friends, the false flag, everything, they see it's false flag. And I have fun with them too. And I'll listen to it. And of course, Facebook and these places, they don't like it because they're based in these narratives where they have to believe everything that comes out of the news. Me, I just don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, who got shot, when they shot him, if there were, government shooters on the, I don't know anything. But I know enough to not stand against other pawns. right? I know enough that even if you're talking false flags, I'm not going to stand against you. And I agree with you to a point. I agree with you to the point of they never tell us the truth. And you have to question everything. Right? And this is why we get into aliens and we talk about fun stuff. Because if everyone has that common ground, whatever your topic is, whatever you're interested in, archaeology, aliens, politics, guns, whatever, if you agree that we never get to know the truth, then you have a natural ally in everybody else, in all the other pawns, because we all agree we're being lied to, like 9/11. Posted up, I don't know whose picture that, somebody sent that picture. At an airplane, they put a 757 in front of the Pentagon. I was like, oh my Lord, like looking at the picture I posted on my wall, and it's just like, you gotta be kidding me. It's that freaking big. And the only pictures they released was like enough wreckage out of an airplane that you could put in the trunk of a car or a suitcase. If we're not being told the truth, we always have to question everything that comes out. So in terms of the shootings, I don't know what happened. I'm not going to, it's not my thing to speculate. But it is my thing to stand with people saying, y'all shouldn't have secrets. Anytime something happens, all of that investigation should be out in front of the public. Because ask yourself, why? Why on an investigation level, whether it's a hotel in Las Vegas, shooting in Florida, Massachusetts bombing, wherever it is, because it's all related, even with the CIA and what they did with Iran and Brother Jeffrey. Why do they have to have secrets? They indoctrinate people so good and hard that people actually agree to the things that there's actually no benefit in. And this is part of why they don't teach kids civics and they don't teach kids the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, because they won't question eroding of these things, and they won't question why the founders put those rights in there to begin with. The authorities demonstrate repeatedly that there is no rule of law. Yes, Brother Kelly, absolutely. They demonstrate, well, and I'll add to that. They demonstrate to us repeatedly that there is no law for them and that we have a law. I think our legal structure works out. You got the elites, there is no law. You have the ruling elites, there's minimum laws. And then you have the Americans who don't even have a constitution, but got 80,000 different laws and rules against each other because they keep cheering and fighting to take each other's rights. How dumb are the pawns? Let me go down a little bit. The pawns around the world are losing. Yes, Lisa, thank you. The pawns around the world are losing. Either we're losing or we lost. We might have lost, girl. They didn't tell us. We already did. But we always lose. That's what Machu Picchu behind it is. We always lose. The 99%, we always get the raw side of the deal because our brains haven't evolved enough yet to understand that we're playing chess. We're not playing checkers. It's horrible. It's brainwashing. What parent would let a psychopath army influence their child's psyche? Yeah, Lynn. And that's the scary thing is, but the way things work, I think, is that when you're 17, you want to go join the armed forces. There's nothing anybody can say. You can go do whatever you want. Like even in Brother Jeffrey's family, which is part of why I think he took the stance that he did. He went into CIA. He had let me jump over to Jeffrey's picture real quick. Invisible Man. He went into the CIA. He had a brother that went into the Army, a brother that went into the Navy, and a brother that went into the Marines. If you are from a family like that, and you have half a brain in your head, and you realize that the CIA is inventing these wars and inventing the enemies that your brothers, your family will have to go fight and possibly die in, you turn on them. As you should, if you're a human damn being, or if you got any common sense in your head. And he turned on them. Now, not turned on them per se, he just told the truth about what they were up to. And there's no evidence that he told the truth to the reporter. That's the other important part, but the things that he was allowed to say, he did say. So, was he a whistleblower? It's a question in the air. The point is he understood that these people are up to no good, which is every industry. Talk to a social worker. Talk to a social worker. You know what happens to the majority? So the social workers have the biggest turnover of any industry, the state social workers. Why? Because these young kids go to college. They have a love for kids. They want to do stuff for kids. They want to help the society. They get a degree in social work. They go into the actual communities, and they find out it's not about helping people. It actually is about numbers and getting enough people on these services and programs so that the federal money rolls in, taking children from their parents. And I'm not saying it's all about that. It's not all about that. But the point is, a lot of these things are about numbers more than they're about people. And they leave. They turn 22 and they're like, you know what? Social work is not what I thought it would be. I'm not helping people. It wasn't portrayed. But this is every single industry because we don't own our government. So across the board, every industry can buy any rights away that they want if they have enough money to buy enough legislators. And that's bigger than Trump. That's bigger than Obama. That's bigger than Bernie. It's bigger than Clinton. It's bigger than any of these people who you think actually can take on probably the biggest, strongest corrupt cartels this planet's ever seen. It's a silly concept to me that a politician can change this. They can't change that. We have to change it. Jeffrey and Holly have a GoFundMe page if you can afford $1 or $2. Yeah, thank you, Lynn. They do. They have a GoFundMe page, and of course he just got out, so now he's going to have to deal with the issues of incarceration, which you got the psychological impacts, which is why they have prisons there to begin with, because they want to screw people up and make them even worse. So you got that, but then now he's got to support his family. And so thank you, Lynn. If you post a link, that would be even better. Many children go in the military to pay for college. Yes, Christine, and that as well too. A lot of them go in the military because they have no other choice. You know, there are kids who go in the military because they're raised in an impoverished community and they know that they got two choices, you know, drugs, starvation, you know, joining a gang or joining the military. And the ones who probably come from a family with just enough morals, but perhaps very financially poor, go into the military, you know, because it's a survival position. Right? You want to survive, you want to eat, you want to have a life, you'll join the military. And then they get roped into this stuff and they get sent to war. It screws them up. They come back and their brain makes its modifications. I'm getting in a lot of trouble for this, and I don't know why people don't understand it. You can watch the scientists talk about it and the neuroscientists, but they go to war, they have those genes flip and they come back and they're increasingly violent, right? It's not their fault. We knew better. We're the adults. We are doing the voting. We're the ones cheering, Bernie, Bernie, you know, Trump, Trump, USA. You know, we're the ones who are doing that. We are as complicit as them. Adrian, welcome to the house. Wherever there are secrets, there are the undoings of the current society. Each 99% that lost their civilization was led there by someone in power that lies. Right. And I think they always lie to us. I think they lied to us too, Deborah, because we're liable. I didn't say reliable. I said liable. We actually will sit back and cheer for some lies. We will sit back and believe every lie that's given to us, which is why they censor Debbie's videos and they'll censor Claudia and everyone's videos who have a alternative view. They see something, it just doesn't look right when a disaster happens, and they'll censor it. They'll shut it off because they walk everyone into believing, you know, whatever comes out in the media always has to be true. And so, but that's how this society goes. But like I said, I don't blame Facebook. I don't blame social media at all. They're trying to do their thing in a really, really sick society. There are also scholarships for college. Yeah, there are. And there are a lot of ways to go to school. It's just the military happens to be one of them. And that is just an option. And you know, we're adults. We know that there are multiple options. You know, there are getaways. But if you're a kid and you were raised in, you know, this particular family, there's limited information. So they make the choices they do, and going to military is one of them. Military might end with drugs too, Rima. Yeah, well, the military, you're right. Because you go over there, you see the things that you see, and you come back. I mean, a big part of the opioid crisis has to do with the soldiers. When the soldiers come back with PTSD and all types of amputations that they've had to undergo, the psychological war trauma, and they want to go and get their natural medicine, whatever, and that's banned. And then they don't, then you don't have good health care with the military to begin with. And then that's a problem. And so now you walk them into drugs and perhaps using drugs, and now you got prisons for them. And so it's this whole, my gosh, like this matrix of just insanity, corruption, and crazy that we live in. And this is why I say we got to hit the reset button. That's what I say. Before the asteroid hits the reset button for us, we need to press that reset button. And I think that button is just the truth. I think that button is just the raw truth. I think when you say the raw truth, the chips fall where they may. The chips don't fall where I want. The chips don't fall where I'm indoctrinated to think they should fall. But when we all say the truth and we look at the facts, the chips fall where they're supposed to, which means we can continue to move forward as a human race and get back on the path to evolving socially, governmentally, in all the ways we need to. Brother Kevin, I joined the military because I was a true believer and needed money for college. Thankfully, I'm awake now. Yeah, and you know what? And I appreciate the fact that you made it out. A lot of good brothers and sisters don't make it out, but that's what some people get in and they get out. Some get in and they get trapped and they get locked into it. My son mentioned joining the Navy once. We had a come to Jesus day. Yeah, mine did that too. Mine did that too. So, oh man, you know what? I won't go through no names. I don't do no names. Someone mentioned the scholarship. So there's also military scholarship or military scholarships, but there's also military industrial complex scholarships. So real, simple thing. Somebody wanted me to look at scholarships for my son dealing with companies that are in the military industrial complex. And this, I'm giving this example because if we're real, we need to act real, right? If this is who we are, this is who we need to be. I have no interest in any scholarships that come from any corporations based in murder. And so, no, I will not, my family, my kids will not be taking any scholarships that come from any companies that are attached to the military industrial complex. If I'm against murder, then why would I take their money? That's blood money, right? That's blood money. Sounds real bad. I used to work for blood money companies, pharmaceutical industry, fast foods, chemicals, whatever. It's blood money. So we need to be honest about that. We need to live the lives that we talk about. If we know the next step is defunding these big corporations and these complexes, what was the other new one? The new one the sister gave us yesterday or 2 days ago. The disaster disaster capitalism industrial complex. So we have all of these massive evil matrix of just that shouldn't exist. It shouldn't. Not if we're a sentient being. If we're a sentient being, how are we complicit with the murder of people, or even the denial of the minimal resources that human beings need to live? Like the whole base of sentience is based in the word sense. If you don't sense your own life, you don't love yourself, you don't sense somebody else's life, and you don't have love for them, or you only sense lives in America. You only sense lives of your skin color. You only sense lives of your gender, or you prioritize lives of your gender. You prioritize sensing lives of people who live in a 1% border. I challenge that your sentience is you got some bad functions and procedures that aren't working right. That's where I stand. Good morning, brother Glenn. All right, let me see what else we got. A few more comments and I'm gonna back out of here. If only there were an undo button. There is an undo button. And this is why the American government is the best government that I can tell by design on the face of the planet, because it was designed to be undone. It was designed to have the reset button pushed. The only problem is it takes a lot of people to do that. And in order for that to happen, people have to stop joining these tribes and fighting each other and really stop hating the players, but really start focusing on the fact that the game is what's sick. And we have to go after the game and stop going after the players. Got to spend a lot less time jumping off on every tweet that comes out, right? Spend more time on the fact that the system that makes the tweeter. Think about that for a minute. New ears for new music. As Nietzsche said, some men are born posthumously. That's a big word, man. New ears for new music. We do, and we do need new ears for new music. Sounds like the mafia. Yes, it is the mafia. We live in a mafioso environment. I'd rather live without them than work for blood money. I can't go against what I believe in and be a hypocrite. Thank you, Crystal. And that really is the crux of being true to what you are, being true to who you are, being true to, I just like Machu Picchu behind me. That's the crux though, is actually living life like you're not a hypocrite. I'm not saying that, people can give up their cell phones, right? They're a normal part of life, or your car, or your small electronics that are all based in slave labor. I'm just saying, one, let's be honest with it. Let's be honest with it. Let's call it what it is. This is bad. This is sick. Let me do what I can to change it. And I'll trade my cell phone as little as possible. I won't cheer it when my neighbor gets a car. I won't jump and go get the new car. I'll lean towards efforts that are for bringing this down, which is what an abolitionist is, going back into slavery. If it's blood money, then don't take it. But then there's the other side of living more sustainable too, right? Not living wasteful. The reason people get trapped into requiring slavery of other people in their lifestyles is because they got so much junk. They have so much junk and so much bills that they can't actually walk away from needing that mess. So they got to work for these evil corporations, and they need all this money, which just dig us in deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think people have to go back to living within their means. People have to go back to a little more common sense, that you don't need all of this crap. You don't need all of these clothes. You don't need all of these cars. Maybe it's okay not to brag on Facebook about all the stuff you're buying and how wasteful you are. Maybe it's okay to talk about how you fixed your dishwasher instead of bought a new one. I think you got to live the life that you talk about. Blood diamonds. Yes, Lynn, blood diamonds, blood minerals. And that's kind of the sick thing, is these people come out and they tell us about it, and we realize, damn, it ain't just the diamonds. It's every freaking thing. Like, it's everywhere. It's all about taking somebody else's land and forcing them to make your life better. That's like the basis of America right now, which is scary. It's the basis of the West. Not just to the Congo, but like we talk about Brother Lavoy Finicum and what they do in the United States, right? They do that here. They'll take your land. They'll fight you when you're just trying to make a living, because land is power, and they don't want people to have power. They don't want people to be able to stand up to what they want. They want you to be weak. They need you to be a dependent. Like I said, I had kids that used to stage revolts all the time. I'm gonna end on this one, but I used to have kids. They used to revolt. Three boys. They're crazy as all hell. Them kids, they'd team up because they knew they outnumbered me. They'd stage all these revolts in the house, but they always lost. They always lost the revolt because they were dependents. They needed me for infrastructure for their lives. They needed me for the lunch money. They needed me for clothes. They needed me for food, water. They needed me to go outside and play. And so I had all the power, so I could be the tyrant. I could do any damn thing I want. And this is what I'm saying, that we're actually in the same exact situation. In the West and throughout most of the world, we're dependents of government. So if you have an issue with your government and what it does, maybe don't consider go fighting your neighbor because it's a convenient fight. Think about fighting the actual system that has you there. And the first fight is just needing them less. Plant some seeds, grow some food, preserve whatever it is that you need to buy less crap, spend less money. If you have money sitting in the bank, what do you do with that? Well, the bank's evil, so I don't want my money in the bank. Buy solar panels. Buy something, if you want to invest your money in gold, put it in gold, but get the gold bars, get the silver bars, but pull out of the system that we need to collapse. I'm a collapser. Like I said before, I think this system needs to collapse. I don't think we need to be in DC laying down in front of the gate pretending to be American dead people. I think we need to stop buying from the corporations that are killing the people. Anyway, that's Gerard. A whole lot of topics this morning. Anyway, y'all have a good day. Love y'all to death. Bye-bye.